Hi, I'm Alex Archbold. I've been buying and selling antiques since I was a kid. Over the years, generations of our family have gotten involved in the business, and I'll search just about anywhere I can to find hidden treasures both big and small. I never know what I'll turn up next. It's about exploring new places, seeing new sights, and having fun. And even though sometimes I get over my head, we try and make things a little better along the way. This is Curiosity Inc. Hi everybody and welcome to today's episode. Well, a few episodes ago, I ended up buying a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know if you saw it. I went through a house, we dug through the basement, went through the garage, and I dug out some toys out of a closet and brought them home. One of them was this. It is an early 1900s German tin clown, and unfortunately it's not in the best of shape. The paint is flaking and peeling off of this guy. In fact, I can't even touch it without little bits of paint falling off wherever I go. So normally with a piece that's this old, I wouldn't really recommend painting it because it takes away from the history, the historic value of it. But in this case, there's not gonna be any paint left. And plus it needs a little bit of work. The wheel has come off on the one side, kind of dangly there. But surprisingly, I'm getting paint all over the place now. Surprisingly, the motor actually still works. So I'm going to attempt today to try and bring this clown, I don't know, it's not quite like a bicycle, I don't know what it is, a clown with a wheel. We're going to try and bring this back to life and see if we can do something with it. I'm going to take some pictures though of how it's painted, like the red on the wheel here, how it has just a little bit of red kind of in certain spots, the yellow of the hat, how the face is done, because I'm going to have to try and replicate that myself. And that might not be super easy to do. So I'll take whatever pictures I can. Sadly, I can't find this thing on the internet anywhere. I can't find another one like it, so it's probably kind of a rare piece. So there's no reference for me to look at what it's supposed to be. But we'll do our best to bring it back to life. So here we go with a little renovation project. I hope it turns out okay. I really don't know at this point, but we'll give it our best shot. I put it in this box while I took some pictures. You can see even just from moving it, all the little white flakes, the chips of paint that are coming off of this thing. So not much I can do to preserve it, but you know, a fresh little paint job should, well, paint job may harm its value overall, but this one's so far gone that I'm not too concerned with that right now. I can see he's got a little kind of yellow, mustardy yellow hat. The way the eyes are painted on there, where the lines on the cheek are. It looks like he's got a little yellow tip on the end of his nose, and sort of blue, what looks like almost airbrushed spots on what would have been this off-white or white coloring. So we'll try and get that right. I'm gonna get downstairs though. I've got to put a little bit of paint stripper on here and see if we can get back to the base metal. Okay, well, first step to getting this paint off, I have I've placed some paint stripper onto the piece, and I've been applying it with a brush so I don't get it kind of anywhere I really don't want it to be. Slowly just kind of working it in, letting it do its thing. You can see the paint coming up here nicely. So we're gonna let this soak, we're gonna let it lift, and I'm gonna give it a good hot bath, and we'll see what kind of condition this metal is like under here. I'm gonna give them a little bit of a face wash. Just really gently just work it into all these bits and pieces. It's a lot gentler on a piece like this than sanding would be. And I'm sure I will probably have to do a little bit of sanding on here, but I don't want to, you know, there's some pressed details that could get filled or they could get sanded over that you wouldn't want to do that too. So I'm going to try my best just to use the stripper for now, and we'll see what this turns out like after a wash. Okay, well, got the paint pretty well all off. Kind of looks like the Tin Man with that funny little metal hat on there. So we are going to, I guess this little tab needs to be pushed over. I'll deal with that with some pliers after. He shouldn't have a little unicorn horn sticking out the front of his head. Anyway, with the paint off and it more or less dry, I'm gonna bend that tab over and we're gonna try and reattach his wheel, which I think looks like it was solder originally. So I'm gonna get the old soldering gun, old soldering gun out. We'll get that laid flat and then put a little bead of solder around there. That should do the trick. Well, I was able to heat up that old lead. and reattach that wheel and straighten it a tiny bit, but it's on there. So with that fixed, I can look at sanding it and shaping that lead filler back out a little bit so it looks a little nicer. And we can get to town on painting this bad boy up pretty soon. Okay, time for a little primer. Get all those spots I sanded down taken care of. We'll let that dry. Kind of looks neat that way, actually. I'll let that dry, and next step will be the off-white paint, which I'm sure somewhere in my cabinet of paints, there's gotta be an off-white spray can in here. Got some clear coat, that might come in handy. With some white back there, so I think we're in good shape. Okay, the white has been painted on. We're just gonna let that dry. After that's all dry, then I can get my yellows and my reds and my other fun colors and start hand painting all the bits that need to be hand painted. So that's gonna set up there for a bit, and then I can tear into it. Okay, the white is now finally dry. I actually repainted it more of an off-white, more of an ivory, because the other white was too bright, kind of like this table. And if I'm honest, the other can of paint was clogged, and I didn't want to run out to the store to buy another one, so I took the cap off, or the nozzle off, and I started cleaning around in there with a pick, and the can started to explode and shoot all over the place, and I had a intense moment, cue the Benny Hill music as I was running around trying to cap the well. Needless to say, I somehow managed to get the nozzle back on. It continued to spray. I shot this thing outside and bagged up the can, and it is now tomorrow's problem. And I spent about 30 minutes getting paint off my hands. I think I got it all off now. With that behind me, I've got my little tester's paints here so I can redo the yellow of the hat and the shoes. And the other paint, like the blues and the reds, they honestly, an airbrush would probably be the way to go, but without that handy, I'm gonna have to find, I think, a little bit bigger brush, something, not like that, something like this, where I can really just kind of dab it and kind of give it a soft sort of texture to do which is basically polka dots on this thing. It's a weird paint job. You would think it would look nicer if it was, the shirt one color and the hat and so forth, but no, they had these sort of very faint little polka dots of color all over. That's the way they had it. And this is a Kellerman, or I think it's Gunterman. Oh, Kellerman, I think is what this is, but like circa 1900. If it was in mint shape and not repainted, it would actually be worth a whole pile of money, like probably $1,000 or more. In this condition, well, I'm just doing it so it looks better, but I'm going to start applying the paint. First up is basically this. This is the yellow. So I'm gonna get a brush out. I'll probably have to do a couple coats of this because yellow goes on awfully thin. So we'll start at the top, kind of work our way down. Actually, it's covering okay. And that's actually really close to what the original color was too. So I'm gonna continue going around. Let's see, where was the line of his hat? Something right around, I think it came kind of like that. Ooh, got a little bristle in there. You don't want that. Okay, I'm gonna keep painting this and hope that this actually turns out okay. I guess we'll find out in a minute here. Well, the yellow turned out more or less how it was. Eventually we'll paint the little red for the cheeks and the smile in the eyes. But next though, we get into the red paint. There was a little dot and kind of like just a little blast of red on the corner of each of the front wheel. And then the center of the rear wheel and a bit of the spokes was painted red. I think that's all there was for red. So next step, red. Okay, yellow and red is done. For whatever reason, that's kind of how it was. It just had red on the axle and kind of was gradated or blended out. Now I did it with a brush and did kind of like a little dotting on it just to give it sort of an effect. Kind of looks like blood spatter, not gonna lie. But I don't want to feed into the crazy clown thing. Anyway, it was meant to have red, it's got red. There you go. Other than the a little dash of red on the cheeks and for the mouth, that's it for red. Next would be sort of like a bluey teal kind of color, which gets dabbed in little polka dots all over this guy's outfit. So I have this blue, which I think when it's stirred up should be just about right. But we're gonna let the red set, and I need to find a much finer brush to do the mouth and the cheek, because the one I had there looked like that was gonna be way too wide. So I did a little sample smile. It's not right. I need a very fine brush, or I need like a paint pen. So I might run out and grab one of those, but progress. Okay, next is the blue, which I'm actually applying with this wider brush so I can kind of speckle and add it in. Now you might look at it and go, well, that looks a little strange. And like I said before, it would be nice to do clean lines for the top. But this is a clown. I guess it's supposed to be whimsical and not make sense. And I'm trying to replicate kind of the brush patterns that they used on the original, what I had from before. So although this isn't what I would have done, I guess it's a clown. It doesn't really matter. It's meant to be sort of fun and different and a little bit on the crazy side. So got the blue, got the red. Next really is just the face and the eyes, or the eyes and the cheeks and everything. And we're getting close to the end here. To do the little smile and to do the eyes, I picked up these oil-based paint pens, which I hope will do the trick. So now I'm gonna have to use both hands here and be extra steady, try and draw the eyes and the mouth and everything on there. Okay, well, I got the face painted back on, pretty much just the way it was. So I guess that's it. I'm not really sure what I think. I mean, it is a clown. It's an older piece. It was hand painted at the time. They did use what looked like sort of an early form of airbrush. And honestly, if I were to redo it, I would redo those blue splotches, because I'm not a big fan of the way that turned out. But, you know, it's not like I couldn't redo it if I wanted to. But for the time being, at least I have something that's not rusty, not falling apart, and I can put it up on a shelf. So there it is in its new home. I guess I should probably find some other circus toys to put there with it, but one piece, you know, somebody down the road might restore it differently. It might even be me that does it differently, but at least it's cleaner, it's back together, and it's on a shelf and on display. So I'll be honest, I was actually kind of debating whether to show this video or not, because like I said, I really needed an airbrush to do that properly, and I tried to fudge it with the brush. I wasn't particularly happy with how it turned out, but it's not terrible. Well, I don't know. I'm happy with elements of it. The white turned out fine. The hat, the shoes, that all turned out good. The face turned out good. It's just basically those little blue dots on the side. So I guess that is what it is. On the shelf, waiting. Maybe I'll revisit it another day. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these little videos. Not everything goes as expected, and today was one of those days, but all in all, it's something that was basically junk, or close to being junk, that is now at least in one piece and clean. So at least I can say that. Have a wonderful day, guys. We'll see you all soon. Oh, and you should subscribe, because we do other stuff, other neat things, and you should watch those. So subscribe for more episodes. We'll see you all soon. And as always, bye for now.